waiting.
Well, a very good evening, Palace fans throughout the globe. Welcome to another edition of the Red and Blue Review with me, Ian Noble, hosting this evening in a very special show. We're all still buzzing from what happened on the South Coast yesterday. Nigel, I expected you to put that Brighton badge upside down at the beginning, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but never mind. And joining me here is the guy that's usually in the hot seat hosting the show, Mr. Nick Philpott. Well, we've sort of given him half an evening off, but you're still joined us. So hello, Nick. How are you, mate?
Mate, good evening. How did you feel from yesterday, bud?
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. I'm still buzzing. You know, we was talking pre-show about the goal celebrations, which we'll talk more about on the show tonight as well. They're completely bonkers, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Legs,
brilliant.
arms, everything.
Absolutely. Well, limbs everywhere. And we got a few other people that are joining us that haven't been on for a little while. Here he is, the hairy biker himself.
Aha.
No, he shaved it off.
Hey, Neil.
Hello, Gel. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. Everyone all right?
So you won your bet, yeah? We fine. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Nice to see you anyway. Really good to have you on. And getting the band back together, completing the picture, is Lionsy, Mr. Ian Lyons, with his decorations up behind him. Look, how are you, matey?
Not too bad, not too bad. I missed that. I should have moved over to and got the fairy on top of me bumps.
The gang, because the boys are here. The boys are you.
It's like the boys are back in town again, isn't it? The boys are back in town. It's really good to have you guys all back together, because when I first did the Red and Blue Review, it was you three that I came on with, I think. But we've not just got the old guard here tonight. We've got some new blood as well. We've got Yasmin with us as well. Hello, Yas. How are you, mate?
Hi, I'm brilliant, thank you. I'm still on a high from yesterday. So
Got your voice back yet?
just about, yeah, absolutely knackered.
And here he is, Mr. Paul Gear, Acker the Real Panel. How are you, buddy? All right?
Yeah, I had a great yesterday, wasn't it? It was amazing for us all, and I remember coming on this show in February just after we'd been stuffed down there, and it was we put an 18 rating at the start of it, and this was always going to hopefully be a redemption show, so it's glorious that we've got a joyful night ahead.
Very good. Did you get home all right?
Yeah, it was all fairly good. Once they finally let us out, we'd driven down yesterday. We got a spot in their car park. I don't like giving them extra money, but it's a lot more convenient than that stupid train. Which is just mayhem. Anyone trying to get on that, fair play to them. But it's no, we got out. It got in early, got out early. It was everything went too smoothly yesterday. It was great.
Very good, very good. What about you, Nick? Did you get home all right? Because you were a bit half cut when I saw you before the game in the away end.
Excuse me, slow you. How dare you? I have to tell you, in all fairness, the night before was my work's Christmas party, and all yesterday was topping up, and there was and we met in the pub at 9:15 yesterday morning after my Christmas party the night before. So I was probably a mess before I even got down there. Anyway, we actually had we got home okay. The kettling outside the stadium was its usual standard. It was long, it was unnecessary. I mean, I don't know why they kept us for like 25, 30 minutes after the game, simply because the Brighton fans were pissed off on 70 minutes anyway. So there's no point in keeping us there. But they did. But that was fine. All well. The train was sitting there ready for us. Took us back to East Croydon. Absolutely no problem at all. What a day, guys. What a day. Fantastic. Anyway, lovely to see you all. Over to you, mate.
Fantastic day. Absolutely. And the part is we scored 3, they scored 1, got an airing. We can't say the rest of that song because it's just inappropriate, but
Right.
It got an airing at the end, certainly. And the kettling bit as well, I saw on social media. It was good to see you, Nick, before the game. We've got a picture of that producer guy, haven't we, somewhere? There we go. A selfie, breaking news. Nick Philpott at an away game. With Fergus Tidd as well. We gave him the evening off tonight. He'll probably be watching the show. It was great to see you boys in the away end, and lots of faces I saw yesterday in the away end. Yeah. Some people that watch the show, and it's lovely when people come up to you, especially at an away game, to say hi, appreciate the podcast, and I know Paul, you and Yasmin, you get that quite a bit as well. So it was good to see Phillips von David. That's not his real name. We found out yesterday. He was sitting with us. And Keith Madge Diamond, we saw him. He's a big fella, isn't he? Good to see you, Keith, and also John Knox. So if I missed anyone, then apologies. But it was great to see you guys in the away and before the game yesterday. And Phillips von David is there watching. Like I can see that his name going through there, and all the usual people watching us. Dawn, you're with us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Paul Grant, Ian, James Appleby, and one or two others, of course. So it's great to have you with us. And hopefully you've all got over well, not got over yesterday. We're still enjoying it, aren't we? We're still enjoying the spectacle that was on the South Coast. Paul Bristow, good evening from Plymouth. Good to see you, Paul. You had an overnighter.
Griff, I can see you out there as well, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's Beth as well from Devon. She goes to every away game. There's a great picture of her celebrating the Saar goal on social media today, which was fantastic. Now, I want to, before we get into the game itself, how does yesterday rate compared to other away days at the Amex? That's the question I want to ask you guys. I'll come to you, Paul Gear. There we go. So we've got Wilfred Zaha there celebrating his brace in 2013. Ismail Sarr celebrating his brace yesterday. Very similar poses. We picked up on that one quite quickly. But if I come to you first, Paul Gear, how does yesterday rate compared to other days?
Well, I've been to all Palace's 11 games at the Amex, so I've had some good emotions, some bad emotions. Now, probably till the day I die, my best Palace night will ever be the playoff semi-final. That will never be beaten. We went down there pure underdogs. They thought they'd beaten us. It was to turn that round and come out winning. It will never be replaced. So that will always be the greatest night at the Amex. Yesterday was up there again after the thrashing last year. It was again a bit of redemption, a bit of giving it back to them. It's the first time we've beaten them for a while. So to me, it was the second best trip to the Amex. The first ever game, we were the first team to beat him in the league there, which was quite good. And the old Murray game with it when he scored. To me, probably the second best there yesterday. It was great. We earned it yesterday. We deserved it, and the celebrations were just mental. It was one of those mad days. All the other defeats make days
they pale in insignificance.
Exactly.
What about you, Nick? What about you? How did you feel yesterday? How did it rate compared to other times you've been to the Amex?
Do you know, before the game, there was actually an air of positivity amongst the Palace fan base. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that. We weren't necessarily going to get beaten. We didn't know how the game would pan out, obviously, but it was positive. In the chat in the pub was positive. But in answer to your question, I think Paul's probably got it spot on. You can't beat Ian Holloway, Keith Millen, Glenn Murray on crutches, Poogate. That's got to be the winning one. But I have to tell you, that was right up there. So I went to work this morning. They all thought I had a cold because my voice was still husky from the night before. It was fantastic, mate. It's right up there.
Laryngitis, self-inflicted. Joe, what was it like watching from afar yesterday? Because you watched on TV, I guess, did you?
Yeah, I mean, look, usually I used to just be up and either trying to kick my TV through the wall or screaming the house down if we'd score goals. But I've learned now that my cat Jinx, he's 16 now, and if I do anything stupid, he will get really, really scared. Plus, I'm 4 months post-heart surgery. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. So I just sat there. Yeah, it's the Palace thing, isn't it? It don't matter if you go 1 up, you go 2 up. It's against Brighton, and you think if they get 1, they can get 2 because they've done it. And when we got 3, I said to my wife, just want to keep a clean sheet. And 10 seconds later, they scored from that corner, and I was, you just think, and you look at the clock and go, with 2 minutes left. Can they get 2 goals in 2 minutes and really sort of piss on our parade? But do you know what? Yesterday was so controlled. It was so controlled. So, yeah, it was, looking from afar, was a lot quieter. But
we'll come to the game itself later, of course, and all the talking points in the game. But yeah, it was nervy. It was good we had the buffer of the third goal for sure, because if it had been 2-1 at the end, it would have been you would have been kicking the cat probably. Ian, you watched the game yesterday, I guess, as well?
Yeah, clearly the playoff has got to be the best one. But I've been at the WIV team when was it Joby McAnuff scored in the last the last seconds and everything else, and that was a great time. But yeah, it's got to be the playoff. But had we won 5-1 yesterday, as we maybe should have done, I think it would have pushed it a little.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong there. I mean, we talk about the Nketiah chance at the end and the goal that was disallowed, but yeah, it could have been 5, couldn't it? That would have been very, very special. Of course, yeah, I've forgotten about that. Joby in the last minute at the WIV team, the athletics ground. I remember that well. I was there that day too. Good one. Yes, I know you got yourself on mute because you got the dog with you. Hopefully, be kind to us. How would that one rate for you? Right up there. Would you agree with Paul and the others?
I would. I mean, I wasn't at the one that you all like, so for me, that was the best one.
Oh, okay.
Because I was at the Withdean one, but not at that one. So for me, I had a feeling yesterday. I don't know why. I thought we were going to do it. So yeah. And Ian wanted to get the Jingle Bells song going, but when they got their goal, he was like, "Oh no, it's not acceptable now at 3-1. We're going to have to wait till near the end."
we got it going in the end, didn't we? We tried very hard at one point, and they started singing something else. But
yeah, they did.
Yeah, we got it going. We got it going on the concourse as well after the game. But definitely, Jingle Bells around Christmas time is always great to sing when you win away from home. And it did get an airing yesterday. It did make me laugh about the well, someone's put in the chat. Jason Green put the 5-0 home, AJ, and the 5-1 with 3 missed pens. Or it wasn't 5-1, was it? It was 2-1, wasn't it? With 4 missed pens, I think. But the 5-0 at home with Andy Johnson scoring. And yesterday, Andy Johnson's song was getting belted out before the game on the concourse. And most of the kids singing it, they weren't even alive when Andy Johnson scored those goals. And they certainly never saw him play for us, which makes me laugh. And I'm not sure we should be singing that anymore, but that's by the by. Listen, we need to get into the game. We need to talk about the match itself. So, Paul, you're going to lead us in on this. You're also going to keep an eye on the game that's going on in the Premier League tonight for us and give us any updates from that. Still 0-0, presumably?
Yeah, it's still 0-0. 11 minutes gone.
Yeah, that just proves we're live. We're live. This is a podcast that goes live for Palace fans to watch. So the game itself, let's have a look at the team, first of all. Nige, there we go. Henderson in goal. Munoz and Mitchell, the wing-backs. Chalobah, Lacroix, Gahey captain, of course, the back three. 10th or 11th straight game, we've had the same back three as they highlighted on Match of the Day. Hughes and Lerma in the middle. Sarr, Eze and Mateta up top. No changes there, as you'd expect, Paul, yeah?
Yeah, no, that was the side that started the second half at Ipswich and started the game against Man City. Both good performances. There was no need to change the side. I mean, he said about, so obviously there was the hope Walton might have made the squad, but he said in the press conference that he'd had a little setback there and they were going to hold him back. Ward was missing. I think Richards was also missing off the bench, which he hadn't mentioned as well. But yeah, that's the side that's been doing the business. So yeah, I didn't see any issues with that, and we were probably quite pleased to see that line up.
Sure. Good. Okay, so let's get into the game itself then. Early talking points. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, so obviously the game gets underway, and Brighton, obviously, the home team, want to start doing a bit of pressing. So the first chance comes in the first couple of minutes when Pedro gets a nice little flick over his head and Mitoma runs onto it. Hits a good low shot, but Henderson keeps it out with his legs. So that was a good start, a good solid save to get him into the groove in theory, because he was probably expecting a tough game. And then a couple of minutes later, he was back in action, actually. The ball was played over the top, and he came flying out with their winger Minter, who did just get the ball first, but Henderson, he got enough of the ball to clear it. Obviously, the thing goes up on the screen saying checking for serious foul play. I mean, the bit that bugged me more than anything was Minter, the ball went high up in the air, and once he realised it was nowhere near him, he fell over like he'd been shot. So to me, that's proof you don't need to, you shouldn't get any decision if you're going to go down like that. But yeah, sure. I mean, I think a bit later on they flashed up on the screen that VAR had said there was enough contact from Henderson, so wasn't deemed to be any issue there. Any of you guys disagree with that or?
Joe?
No, not at all. I mean, he was one of their players that, I mean, I thought it was me breathing too hard that the TV made him fall over. He did every opportunity that he took to just throw himself to the floor. Seriously, it was a bit embarrassing from some of the Brighton players. But yeah, the only thing I did think though was had he hit him, he would have been off. And would have been down at 10, and that would have been catastrophic. But
I mean, there was a heart in mouth moment, wasn't there? You know, I thought, certainly in the ground, what's he doing? And then, obviously it went quite quickly. The check was over quite quickly. Worried at all at that moment, Ian Lyons, watching the game live?
Off the bat, yeah, it looked pretty close. But as everyone said, he didn't even touch him. And, I thought I was watching the European Diving Championships for the first 10 minutes. It was absolutely ridiculous, and people have been talking about it in Richard Young. Brighton should have been Cardiff. That's exactly right, and something needs to be done anyway. The authorities need to be looking at games retrospectively and just banning players, and that will soon stop it.
Yeah, and he wasn't even the best one of the weekend, because I caught the highlights of the Manchester derby, and what's Walker thinking? You know, that is an experienced pro like him. That's just totally embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. He should be ashamed of himself for what happened there. But that's another game, so we won't dwell on that. But yeah, so early on, you know, exchanges. It wasn't too long before we 1-0 up, though, Paul, was it?
Yeah, I've read a bit of a kerfuffle today actually about the goal, but apparently Michael Oliver apologised to the manager after the game because he sort of got in the way of one of their players, but played on. Now, if we'd have gone straight up and scored from that, he might have had a point, but we had 2 set pieces in between, so it was, to me, that was just a bit of a non-event. But yeah, we got Eze got the ball and actually drove forward with it, which was quite good. An attack, had a shot, went off for the corner. We took the corner, went out for another corner, and then our prolificness at corners now is paying off. It's like third of the season. Swung it in.
Busters, isn't it? They all come along together.
It's amazing. And obviously there's a bit of a scramble in the box, and Trevor Chalobah smashes it into the roof of the net, cueing pandemonium in the way end. Until we suddenly see a couple of things on the screen, which is always a worry. It says 9 is the VAR checking for offside, and then it said it's checking for handball as well. So we're all a bit like, this surely not. But again, you couldn't be offside.
Let's try and find a way to give to not give.
Yeah, this is exactly it, Jill. You know, how many reasons can we find to disallow this goal? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, as I say, it's craziness. I mean, it couldn't have been offside because they had 3 players on the line or off the pitch, so that's no matter. And apparently, it did brush Sar's hand, but the rule is if you're not the scorer anyway, it shouldn't matter. So yeah, we got another little mini celebration after that was given. So that was great. Yeah, it was nice to shut them up a bit. And what was great was we didn't just stop. We went for the jugular, kept going, and scoring two in 6 minutes was.
Paul, let
amazing.
me stop you if I may. Can I just stop you there before you go on to the second goal? With the second corner, it came in. I don't know what anyone else did. Mateta try and head it, but he looked like ducked out of the way to start.
He did.
Pick up on that,
and I got a call.
Is that what you think it was? He got a call, or did he just miss it?
Well, there were two Palace players behind him. So I mean, we were en masse. I think it was at Wolf, right? But there was 3 before the ball, at least 2 behind. I mean, we absolutely flooded that little area. So
yeah, okay, Nick.
I'm looking at it right now as we speak. It was Lacroix and obviously Chalobah. I don't think he did get the call. I actually think he went down to head it.
Out of the way, didn't he, almost?
And he went straight over his head. It went straight over his head, and then Chalobah just whacked it into the roof of the net.
I mean, for a big guy, right, Mateta, you know, and the great goals he scored. I mean, just look at the goal at Ipswich. You know, what a super goal that was, and he still had a lot to do. He's rubbish in the air, isn't he? Yes, do you reckon? He's poor in the air for a big guy. He's poor in the air.
Most of the time he misses it, and so that one yesterday, he definitely went to get it and missed.
Yeah,
I think the others were there because they knew that would happen.
If he gets on it at the end of it, he probably goes over the bar. But there we go. So yeah, a bit of a scramble in the goal mouth. Sar got the assist, but he sort of brushed his body to get the assist. Bit of a lucky assist, really. And Chalobah apparently used to be a striker when he was younger, Paul, according to the commentary.
Oh, well, I remember him scoring on his debut against us for Chelsea. So he's, but that's 2 for him this season. So long may it continue with our corners and set pieces and defenders scoring. But yeah, as we said, we've got the second goal. It was a nice ball out wide from Lacroix, and Mitchell with a lovely bit of deliberate control off his back, which I'm sure he was been practicing all week. Got him away from Lamptey. And then, swung in a very good deep cross to the back post and but got past Dunk and headed back across the goal. And like I say, absolute pandemonium at that point, because I think even in our wildest dreams to be 2 up in 33 minutes was amazing. But that was quite a goal celebration. Ian?
Ian and then Nick, how did you celebrate that, Ian?
Vociferously. I would think the control with his shoulder was better than the intention with the cross with Mitchell. I mean, we've been screaming at Mitchell for his crossing, and he actually digs one out, mishits it, but what a cross! And you know, Sar would have done incredibly well to have missed that.
You just stolen Ian.
It was out of the reach of the goalkeeper, wasn't it, Nick?
Yeah, he has just stolen my thunder again. I was literally just watching the cross here, and he's off balance when he strikes it. It's when he puts the ball across, and it looks as though, for all intents and purposes, he's going into Rose Head, and somehow he's looped over, and it was I think it was more of a lucky cross than anything else. But as you say,
but we'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair on Brighton, though, don't you think? I feel a bit sorry for him. Sorry, carry on.
Jill, how did you celebrate it in your house?
I wasn't, like I said, it was just another, no screaming, nothing, just nice and calm. The more pleasing, no, it was, I swear to you. The thing that pleased me more than anything is that afterwards I watched the analysis of it, and it says, and they said that Lewis Dunk saw Sarrs make that run. And then the next time he saw Sarr was running behind him, past him, and putting it in the net. And what was so beautiful about that is I think he was at fault for 2 of those goals. And from what I was reading on my annual North Stand chat visit, was that they now think he's done and dusted, and that's the end of him. Which would be fantastic if we were, because I love the fact that Dunk hates us as much as we hate him. He's a pure fan, and I don't think that he can concentrate properly. I really don't. When he plays us, I don't think he can concentrate. He's absolutely staying in hatred of us, puts him in a different place mentally than he should be. Because you watch him, he makes so many mistakes, and when he tackles, he tries to hurt. He really does. Always has done.
Nick, I'll come to you in a minute. Nick. Yasmin, you were in the ground next to me as we celebrated that goal. What happened?
Well, Ian really celebrated that goal, and as he did, he knocked me over, and I almost went over the seats in front, and I had to grab Kirsty, who was in front, had the hood of her coat, and I'm trying to pull myself up. Then I realised I was strangling her, so I let go. And then when I did get up, I looked and I saw they had, because we're right next to where the Brighton fans would be. That's why Ian ran to have a go. And I looked and the police were laughing at me and the stewards were laughing at me because I was so close to just ending up on the floor in the seat in front.
There were proper limbs, weren't there? Proper limbs for that goal celebration. It was something else. Yeah, Nick, and you went a bit mental as well, I understand. Is that right?
If there's anybody watching who would have been a gentleman of West Indian persuasion, I've run up the steps. I mean, I think rows 7 or 8, and I've run up the steps 10 rows back. I've never seen this guy. I've never met this bloke in my life, and I've launched myself at this fella. Okay, if you are watching this evening, mate, what a great goal! What a wonderful goal!
I think you mean to apologise then, Nick. I don't know whether you did or not.
And the other thing I wanted to just touch on, and hopefully we're going to come to it later in the show. 2 things of the same subject: Mateta and Lacroix. They really get us. They really get Alice. Sorry.
We'll come to that. Thanks, Lindsay. I can't imagine me running anywhere. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't run usually. I just celebrate goals in the away end sometimes. So we're 2-0 up, and it's beyond what we could have expected, really. It's nice to be winning, but to be 2-0 up after half an hour was pretty special. And I don't know if you noticed, we talk about Mitchell getting the cross in. It was Mitchell that was fouled on the halfway line or in our own half to win the free kick in the first place. And he nearly gave the ball away. I mean, I think I screamed at him saying, "What on earth are you doing?" But he was fouled, of course, it was a proper foul. But if the ref misses that and they go on and score, then he was dicing with it a little bit. But there we are. So it all came out well in the end. Someone just put in the chat, I love seeing Mallory sulking. Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? They panned in on Alan Mallory. I think after that goal, actually, which was quite amusing. We should have maybe sung a song about him, but there we are. Maybe for another day. So 2-0, Paul. What else happened in the first half, mate?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. We would say we was in control of the game. Brighton weren't really doing much, giving us any problems. And again, it was a really, right on the stroke of half time, we did another attack down the right. Sarr was tormenting their left back. I mean, apparently we did target their fullbacks because they both play like wingers, so there was space there. But Sarr got down the back, got a great cross in, and Eze tried to head it like he did at Villa the other week, back against the way the ball was coming, and he missed just by a fraction. And I mean, to have got a goal there would have been incredible. But
it was close, and you didn't realise, did you, when we were in the way?
I was even at 2-0, obviously you want to just be putting the game to bed. So it was a big chance that we could have really finished the game there and then. But no, half finished. We're going 2-0 up again, as we say, beyond the wildest dreams, and it's a case of let's come out and do the same. But so second half started, they obviously made a change. They made a change to go 3 at the back, brought one on Cisco for Lamptey, so they were obviously going to go for it more. And they started penning us back really for the first 10-15 minutes. It was all at the balls, all at the other end. McQuarrie made a very good block from the Matoma shot. And then Hendo made a great save from they had a set piece which they swung in, and Duff headed, and great save, tipped that wide. He then made another save from a shot from Cisco, and he was a bit of a one man rearguard action at that point, and it was getting a little bit hairy. But I think we started to weather the storm at that point and started to get back into it, and obviously start playing. We made a few changes at that point as well, which was probably quite nice. I think we were all a bit surprised to see Kamada come on, I must admit. Mateta, I wasn't surprised he went off. When he came out in the warm-up, I saw he had a bandage on his thigh, so I'm not sure if he was 100% fit. So he obviously did his hour, did a good job for the hour. But then Nketiah came on. I was quite pleased to see Nketiah come on in what we all think is probably his rightful position. So we can come back later about his performance. But yeah, Kamada, I was surprised because I thought Devaney had probably jumped him in the queue, but whether Oliver was going for Kamada's experience or whatever. But I think a few Palace fans at that point were a bit like, "Ooh, this could backfire." But no, we kept going, and then we had another attack down the right. Again, Estupian, where his name is, he missed the ball, he let it bounce. And they had a little tussle with Sarr. Sarr got past him, pulled it back. Munoz put it in again. Everyone went mad. And then you could see Michael Oliver waving it as if it's no. And the players were quite certain it wasn't a goal. Now, from my point of view, at the time, I thought it was a very harsh decision. But having looked it back, it's one of those. You can see why it could have been given. But if it had been the other end, we'd have probably wanted a foul.
Okay. I'll stop you there, Paul. Gel.
So, talking about what should have been the third goal. He's very clever, that defender. What he does is he gets just about in front, and then he stops, and then he invites the bang in the back, gets the free kick. It's what they do now. It's a very clever thing. But referees should suss this out. That I personally thought that was a legit goal. In the Championship, there wouldn't have been a free kick. It's only in the hairy fairy Premier League where you touch someone, they scream and you go down.
Okay,
but I thought that was a legit goal.
Okay, interesting. We thought that in the ground yesterday in the away end. We said, how have they ruled that out? Let's get your views in the chat, guys. Was it a good goal or was it a foul? Ian Lyons, what do you think?
Now from what they showed on the TV, I was with Joe. He's definitely steps in front of him. He initiates the contact, goes down, everything else. But no, and it's not until you see it on MOT2 you get a different view of it, and you can definitely see why it was given, because Sarr's arm was in his back, which you didn't see on the live feed at the time. So begrudgingly, I'll probably go with that. Yeah,
and I think it's one of those. For me, it's one of those that VAR go with the on-field decision. The on-field decision is to disallow it because of a foul. Therefore, no goal. If he doesn't give it as a foul and he allows the goal to stand, I don't think VAR intervene and say
in cricket,
ref.
They called it umpires calling cricket, and that's exactly what it would have been.
Yeah. So, Nick, would you go along with the fact that it wasn't a foul? It should have been. Well, I
hate to say any point during my life, I'm 62 years old now, I hate to say this and admit this, that I actually agree with Holyoke. And it's awful to say. I just watched it back and he's quite right. Number 30 stepped into him and initiated the contact. And sadly, the old boy got it bang on.
Yeah. Yes. What about you?
I think it's difficult. In the ground, 100% that was a goal. And I was already counting my FPL points and all of that. But then when I saw it on Match of the Day, I can see why they didn't give it, to be honest. And I know about the defender doing that because Mark does that a lot. And often he does win it, the free kick, when it maybe isn't definitely. So, I think it's John says 50-50. And that one didn't go away.
Yeah, Paul Bristow, I can understand why it wasn't given.
It's a Jordan Ayew foul, isn't it? Jordan Ayew almost made a career out of getting that foul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point, Joe, actually. Jordan Ayew-esque, we could say. Noctis said second push was a foul. John Knox 50-50. Leon, I thought it was a foul. Yeah, so most people think it was a foul. Commentators said it was harsh, says mental health. Okay, that's good. Yeah, good to have you with us, guys. Thanks for your opinions. 50-50, PR 66 is saying as well. So, yeah, so goal not given. We thought we were 3-0 up earlier. Yasmin's counting her FPL points because she has Munoz in her team. Clean sheet banked as well at that point. You're thinking, oh, it's a 15-point haul. He got 1 in the end. Never mind with his yellow card. That means he's banned, actually, for the next Premier League game, which, of course, is Arsenal next weekend. So 2-0, but we do go 3-0 up eventually, Paul Gear.
Ironically, just on Munoz, he's also banned for the cup game, I believe, as well, because he's got 2 bookings in that, so he's going to miss both games against Arsenal. But yeah, as you say, not far off, as you say, Ian. Wasn't far for the moment where right in front of us, the Wayham went absolutely mad. It was a huge managed to win the ball in midfield, headed it forward, and Nketiah, he out-jumped Dunk, flicked it up, and Dunk was obviously not knowing what day it was or where he was and spinning around, hoping to see a ball. But Sarr nicked it past him and went through and clean through on goal. And as you say, there's 3,000 Palace fans just trying to suck that ball into the net. And sure enough, he just calmly just rolled it past the goalkeeper. And as we said, we all know how mad everyone went. And I'm pretty sure I ended up getting, me and Kimberly got a hug from you at that point, Ian, as well. And everyone was going, just hugging everyone at that point. It was just, it was such a great goal. He took it really well. And we've said this over the last few weeks. It's probably a good time to say again. Ismaili Sarr is beginning to really look the part, and his pace and strength is really aiding our attacking line now and becoming a real threat. But yeah, it was a great goal, and he celebrated like Wilf in front of us, and yeah, it was a great moment. And because at 3-0 with 10 minutes ago, you think the game's won, and it's so great scoring a goal like that. And when you know you've pretty much won the game, you just and as we say, we turned around, all the Brighton fans were heading for the exit. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we sealed it with a third goal, and I think the Sky commentary was excellent. I mean, I've heard that back. It's fantastic. Nick first, then Gel. Nick.
Okay, very quickly. Like you, Ian, you obviously picked a random Brighton fan out in the crowd to have a pop at. I'd actually had this ongoing battle with a geezer like Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion sitting about 4 rows across from me. I mean, I don't know which county he was sitting in from his eyes. But anyway, so I watched this going on, and I looked up on when the third goal went in the back of the net, and he didn't even bother giving me the gesture. He just walked straight at the ground. He'd gone, and I have to say I did laugh.
Very good, Joe.
I think we've pretty much seen now where Sarr's best position is for us. You know, against Villa, he terrorised him straight away through the middle. I thought yesterday, anytime he got the ball straight away through the middle, they literally didn't know what to do. And again, look at this one. I know you've been looking at it, Nick, but look at it from the last camera angle, from the furthest one, right, where the camera pans out, and you see Lewis Dunk standing on the edge of the area looking directly at the Palace fans. And he couldn't look. If you'd have just took his house and his family away from him and said, there, you've got nothing else, he couldn't look more desolate. He was just, it was perfect. You know that photo? You know, players have photos of goalkeepers when they've hit a free kick and the goalkeeper's in mid-air and the ball's going in. It'd be one of them snapshots. Palace fans should have them snapshots of Sarr going through and Dunk looking directly down. But someone must have that picture of Dunk standing there looking at 3,000 Palace fans about to start dancing.
I'll tell you what, mate, you've really thought about this, haven't you?
I have. I love it.
I know somebody else mentioned it earlier on, but for anybody that loves their comedy, okay, please get onto the North Stand chat and have a look, okay? I mean, it's just so funny to read some of the comments. It's worth investing on. Yeah, and I took that picture from inside the stadium. These are not young blokes out for a couple of beers. Okay, look at them. They're older than I am, and you've turned up to a football. Okay, that's that. Good evening, Simon.
Nick, listen, I'm a bit worried that you and Gel and Paul have spent time today on the North Stand chat. How have you got time to spend on the North Stand chat? Yasmin, you haven't done that as well, have you? Tell me.
No, I have not. And I was about to say to Joe, I don't want a snapshot of Lewis Dunk anywhere near me. Thank you very much.
And Ian Lyons, I don't expect you had either. You haven't got it.
No, I'm still young enough, like Yasmin, to be working. So
very good. Yeah, absolutely.
I've been a member of North Stand Chat since 2009.
Brilliant. Love it.
So have I.
And there we go. Look at this. Look at this. We've seen that one before, of course, but it's quite funny still. Excellent. And for the benefit of the podcast listeners, it says shit on a Brighton shirt. Paul.
Yeah, I was working today, Ian, as well, and amazingly, all the Brighton fans were working from home today. It was really a bit frustrating, to be honest. But yeah, and I did find some time. As I say, there's certain things you have to make time for, and as Nick says, it's quite an experience to read some of that. It just compounds it all from yesterday. But as Joel says, that you could get a compilation. I remember there was a great picture of Lewis Dunk laying horizontal when Joel Nye scored it.
Oh yeah.
You could put together some really good pictures of Lewis Dunk.
Could have the 12 dunk days of Christmas. Most of them would be him on the floor, I'm telling you.
There's a project for you there. Yeah, you've got some time in your hands. Yeah, you can do that.
That's a red and blue review calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Oh, ideas are coming out now, guys. Let's the creative juices are flowing.
It takes a 3-1 win at Brighton for you lot to finally get creative. Where have you been for the last 15 years?
As Nick says, to be fair, it should have been a 3-0 win, but unfortunately, on the 88th minute, we had a bit of a calamity. I mean, I don't think you could have done this if you tried, to be honest. I mean, the corner was swung in, it was scramble a bit, and obviously Lacroix tried to smash it away, and it hit basically the midriff of Gay and somehow angled itself back into the bottom corner. I mean, you couldn't have made it up if you tried. And at that point, I must admit, even at 88 minutes, my panic bells were ringing because I was just dreading anything going wrong at this point. And you just sort of can almost think, oh no. And I know what Brighton did the week before; they conceded 2 in stoppage time and stuff. So you're just like, oh no, just get this over and done with now. But yeah, it was a bit of a kamikaze own goal, and it's his second own goal of the season actually, which is not ideal. And apparently, it's only the second goal in that fixture, and we scored the other one at that end a few years ago when Yoa put it in the net. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, that was unlucky. I think it was Lacroix. If you look at that, was it Lacroix? Absolutely nailed that straight at Gay, and then it just beat everybody.
Even the angle it went back in. I mean, it could have gone anywhere, but it just found its way back in the net. It was.
And Gay, if you own him in FPL, bad luck. -1 for yesterday. That's a bit harsh. Listen, for all the good saves that Dean Henderson made yesterday, could he and should he have done better with that corner?
Yes. He went for the ball with his arms downwards instead of being underneath it the other way. That's why it slips out of his grasp. Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to sort of piss on his parade as such, after having such an half-decent game.
We're just analysing the game. We're being super critical of a guy that saved us yesterday and is arguably a candidate for man of the match. But for me, he needs to come and punch that when he's under so much pressure of all the players around him bustling him. Just get a fist on it,
Yeah.
There we go. Ian, were you going to say the same? You had your hand up a minute ago.
Well, I'm coming in from a different way. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe he did fumble it, but at the end of the day, he didn't fumble it into the net. He didn't fumble it to a Brighton player. Our player smacked it against our other player, and it went in the back. But that one mistake shouldn't detract from how good he's been and how many points he's got the team in the last 4 or 5 games alone. His face has saved us at least 3 points. I think people need to be a lot fairer with all the stick. Joe and I are the same. We used to give Ayew stick, but when he started to play well, we'll give him credit for it.
Yeah.
You got to be balanced.
You have got to be balanced. Phillips on David says that Henderson will struggle with Arsenal. I mean, it'll be interesting actually because Arsenal do score a lot from set pieces. They get their big centre backs forward. They've scored a lot of goals from corners. So hopefully we learn from that. I'm sure Glasner's bright enough. We trust Glasner to have dealt with that and talk about it and improve the way we defend those kind of set pieces in the games ahead. So 3-1, but it could have been 4-1 at the end, Paul, couldn't it?
Well, yeah, as I say, there was a bit of an onslaught at that point. And as I say, Henderson did make another good save from Cisco. But yeah, we weathered it a bit. And then, as I say, we managed to create a breakaway and Ketia goes clean through. And yeah, it's one of those. I was hearing some talk on the radio earlier. He goes through, and he's not. I don't think he's confident enough to try that type of finish at the moment. He's desperate for his first league goal. You've got to do the simple thing at that point, really. And as they said, if it had been 0-0 or 1 behind, he wouldn't have tried that. It was a bit of an arrogant finish. And he's obviously a confident chap. He wants to score the nice goal, and it would have been lovely to get a fourth. And it was a shame in some ways because, as I said, I thought he had an excellent cameo when he came on. I thought he was winning headers when he's smaller than the other defenders.
Yep.
And I thought he played really well. And as I said, I've always wanted to see him in that sort of his position. And it would have been really nice for him to cap it off with a goal, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. And but yeah, luckily it didn't matter at that point. But yeah, so that chance went begging, and final whistle went. And as I say, it was just that
happy days.
Was great.
Happy days.
They all came over and celebrated again. As I was saying earlier, so different from last year when they all came over and Anderson started having a pop at fans and they were having arguments. It was great to see the team celebrating like that, and they were loving it. And as Oliver Glasson said, it was a Christmas present to us from them, and it was brilliant. It just capped a great day.
Stop you talking there. I'm going to Gel, Nick, Ian. Gel.
I'll tell you what, Eddie, that miss at the end. And I had the flashback straight away, and it made me shiver. Do you remember Johnny Williams when he put it past the post in the? It was almost, apart from Williams flushed it along the floor. It was that I was expecting the net to go, but yeah, it was. I'll just say that it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, fortunately, it didn't matter. Nick, were you going to say something similar?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was actually going to say Eddie Nketiah. Now, listen, that was clearly a strike or a finish of a player out of form, and he's out of form. However, I spoke to him earlier, and he said, "Don't worry, boys, I've got it covered for the Emirates on Wednesday night." So that's
brilliant. Yeah, thanks very much for that. Yeah, you had a word with him, and he's going to come good, Ian.
Nketiah, I said it a few weeks back. I've said it since he's been in. He's playing the front two. He's going to do very little up there on his own, certainly with cameos, because he's not going to get the service that he requires. So, until that happens, I don't think we're going to expect much from him. And secondly, did anyone notice what Mateta did in the tunnel?
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to mention it?
Yeah, well, you started it.
I don't know.
Right, okay, all right. Well, some people may know there's a lounge, isn't there? A bit like the Man City ground, where all the directors and their mates sit, and they can see the players line up in the tunnel. It's one-way glass. And on the way back in, Mateta starts celebrating in front of it to everyone that's probably assumingly still here, and caused a bit of a ruckus, apparently. So
do you know why? Because Kleiny pointed it out to him. Kleiny knew about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Kleiny said, "Here, go on. It's just there."
Yeah, do it.
Indeed. Yasmin.
Yeah, I want to say about Eddie. I think what happened, it was a terrible miss, but I think it's because he's really lacking confidence. And I've seen quite a lot of stuff, especially on Twitter, where people are really slagging him off. And I just think, can we just give one of our own players a chance? Because he's clearly lacking in confidence, and all of that sort of stuff's not helping matters at all. And I thought when he came on, because I said to Paul at the time, I didn't really understand why Kamada came on. I was scared he was going to do something stupid and cost us the game. But he did okay. So that's good. That's a plus. But Eddie, I think he really turned it around. I think he did a bit more than Mateta did. So I'm really pleased with him. I'm hoping he can get confidence. And just to say, the thing with Kleiny was so funny. It was like a kid that gets someone else to do the naughty thing. It was so funny.
Get the big kid to do it.
That's a good analogy. I like that a lot. Yeah. So play Eddie up front in the cup. Give JPM a rest, says Lee Lockwood. Nketiah is a player lacking in confidence, says John Ellicott. Indeed. So we think maybe Eddie Nketiah is going to get some game time in the cup. We shall see. Here are our stats at the end of the game. Brighton had 65% possession to our 35. Shots, there wasn't an awful lot in it. 5 each on target. Similar with corners. They had a lot more of the ball. It didn't feel like that in the game that much. And 1 offside each. Those stats surprise you at all, anyone?
Do you know what? It didn't surprise me, but I have got one. We always knew that they had more of the ball than us anyway. Not really bothered about that. Am I the only one that thought in the second half that referee gave us absolutely nothing? Right? But when I went on North Stand chat, they were like, "Yeah, well, Palace quite clearly had a 12th man today," and I was like, "What?" It was completely not like that. We didn't get hardly anything off of him in the second half. It's like at any time that he wanted to find an excuse to give them a free kick or stop us from running away with that, he helped them out.
Was he trying to even it up a bit, maybe, because we were winning the game? Nick and then Paul.
Just very quickly, I wanted to touch on, Glaz has made a point recently of saying that about the camaraderie within the group, okay, and the group of players. And you guys watching it on TV wouldn't have seen what we saw in the ground after the final whistle when the players came over to celebrate with the crowd. The players, between them, to a man, got hold of Ismaili Sarr and pushed him to the front, okay. And I just thought it was one of those, because he's one of those players that, he's not like Mateta, right up in front and in your face. He's one of those quieter players, and they pushed him forward, and then they started singing that Ismaili Sarr and Trevor Chalobah song. I just thought it was a lovely touch by the group of players. Great camaraderie within the group.
Absolutely. Sarr will tear you apart again was the rendition that was ringing out around the Amex. Paul Gear, then Joe.
So, yeah, as Joe says, it's amazing how when a team loses, they blame the ref. But second half, as I say, he even gave them a free kick for handball when it hit Sarr on the head. I mean, it was crazy.
Yes.
And he booked a few of our players and stuff. And, it was whether he was trying to psychologically even up because he's admitting to this mistake in the first half. Who knows it? But, yeah, I mean, the performance was great. We could have had 5 or 6. We shouldn't be greedy. But there's some stats on there. It's the first time we've scored 3 this season. Nice place to
in
do
the
it.
league, yeah, absolutely.
Their first defeat under their new manager there, which is always nice. So first time we've won back-to-back away games since we won at Leeds and Southampton in April 23 under Roy.
Very good.
We're now unbeaten in 4 away games, which is the best since March 22 when we went 5 away games. So let's see if we can
impressive stats.
Get that up match that at Bournemouth hopefully on Boxing Day.
Very good.
We're currently 0-0 at half time.
There we go. What's that all about? I think that round of applause was for your stats, Paul, actually, I think. There we are. So, Lionsy, you had your hand up a minute ago.
Yeah, they were singing it's 1-0 to the referee after the first goal.
Were they?
They've got a terrible record with Oliver ref in their games, and they were expecting. I think the writing was on the wall from that point onwards. But yeah, I mean, listen, we're doing well, aren't we? At the end of the day, we're on a nice little run. We're hard to beat. The defence is scoring just as much as the front line. My one concern is that we're carrying Ebbs at the minute.
Okay.
I think he could probably do with a kick up the backside, to be perfectly honest.
Do you really think we're carrying him, or are we just expecting more of him because he is Eberechi Eze?
I think he's gone backwards. Certainly in his decision making, he holds onto the ball too long now, and that's not because he hasn't got people around him either. I think he just holds it on, waits for players to come, and he's crowded out before he's at his best when he's moving it quickly and running with the ball as well. Picking up, he's turning into a Harry Kane. He's coming too deep to pick it up. Okay. That's not where he's good at hurting people.
Okay, if you agree with Ian in the chat, is Eberechi Eze playing too deep? Is he holding on to the ball too long? Let us know what you think, Jill.
Well, I'm conscious of the time, and you haven't. Is anybody going to mention Hughesy yet in this today?
You just have.
Okay. Well, so if anybody disagrees with me, they're completely wrong. You're all wrong. He was our man of the match again yesterday. He was every single thing that's been good in the last 2, 3, 4 games has been because of him. He has been absolutely unbelievable. He's starting to remind me more and more and more. And I've said this to you more than one occasion, Nick. Reminds me of Macca. And now what he's doing is taking more responsibility by being more creative. What we wanted Hughesy to do, which is what he's done for the last few years, is just to kick people up in the air. And now he's proving that he has so much more to his game than that he gets genuine creativity, and he is now picking the ball up and going forward and making a menace of himself. And I think he's been absolutely amazing for us, and he's being overlooked.
Go on, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick one on Ebbs quickly. It was quite interesting. Before the game, Roy Keane actually was talking about Ebbs, apparently, and he said the reason he's still at Crystal Palace is because he needs to improve his end product. So it's not just us who are saying this about Ebbs needs to step up. But as Gerald just said about Hughes, as I said last week, at the start of the season, he was my fourth choice midfielder. Now he's the first choice. He's been brilliant. I mean, I think Sarr was my man of the match yesterday, but Hughes, he's been excellent for weeks now. And as I say, it's going to be interesting because I think Lerma's playing very well as well. And of course, it's nice that we can hopefully ease Adam Walton back into the team now, because obviously he's still to come back. It'd be interesting to see when he comes back. But Hughes certainly has the shirt and is doing nothing to deserve losing it.
Well, I was going to ask you actually, when Adam Walton is fit, who makes way, because it's not Will Hughes, is it? It really isn't Will Hughes at the moment.
It's none of them.
He got the two assists. He got the 2 assists against City, I think. And I agree with Joe. He was everywhere yesterday, and you're quite right to single him out and praise him because he had a great game again. But so did everyone yesterday. It was very difficult to pick a man of the match for Palace yesterday. So let's very quickly, guys. We're running out of time to decide. Your man of the match yesterday. Joe first. Who are your man of the match? Hughes. Nick.
Henderson.
Paul.
Sarr.
Yaz.
Henderson.
Ian.
Lacroix.
And I'm going to go Sarr as well for the 2 goals. So
you're all wrong. I told you you'd all be wrong.
Yeah, we all pick different players. So tell us your man of the match in the chat, guys. And of course, they're all candidates, aren't they? They all play very, very well, and it's a nice problem to have when you reflect back on games like that. So, guys, we could talk about this all evening. We've got 8 minutes before 9 o'clock. We want to try and keep these pods to an hour. What's the score at the Vitality, Paul?
0-0.
0-0 at half time. Okay, so watch this show. You don't need to watch that. This is far more entertaining. Okay, quickly talk about the loan watch. We do this on the Red and Blue Review every week. We look at the players that are out on loan from Crystal Palace. Owen Goodman, he kept a clean sheet for AFC Wimbledon. They won 1-0 at home to Doncaster Rovers. Joe Whitworth, he played the full 90 for Exeter, of course. He hit late in 2 goals. They lost 2-1 at home to Barnsley. Danny Imray, he's pulling up trees for Bromley. They drew 0-0 with a high-flying Port Vale in League 2. Jez Razsaki, he seems to get the start for Sheffield United, but they pull him off after about the hour. He managed 52 minutes yesterday. They won 2-0, and of course they're riding high at the top of the championship. Adaramola, he wasn't in the squad for Stockport County, but I mentioned that because there are opponents in the FA Cup in a few weeks' time, and presumably he'll be ineligible to play in that game. And Ozo at Derby is still missing due to injury. But people were telling me yesterday how much someone was saying they were talking to a Derby fan, and they were eulogising about how good Hughes was when he was a youngster at Derby County, and also how much they love David Ozo, even though he's been injured for a while. And Luke Planch, he's on loan in Helsinki and didn't feature. So that's a quick roundup of those players that are out on loan at the moment from the club. There was, in other news yesterday, Ian Lyons, a certain Gareth Southgate, of course, who came through the Crystal Palace Academy, or reserves as it was in those days, youth team, he was in the news yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it transpires that nothing is sacred now, not even a New Year's honours list, and it gets leaked even before Christmas. And the allegations are that a certain Mr. Southgate is going to receive a knighthood. And I just wondered what people's thoughts were on that and whether or not they felt he deserved it. What about you? What do you think, Mr. Noble?
Well, I'm pleased for him. I knew the guy years ago. I won't go into that story just now, but he is a great.
You're his bank manager. You've already done it.
I wasn't going to mention that, but you mentioned it. I was his bank manager. But look, Gareth Southgate. What you see with Gareth Southgate is what you get. He's a real gentleman. He's a lovely man, and he's a great football guy. And I think he's done a lot for the England squad in terms of bringing them together as a group. He's clearly had more success as an England manager in the 8 years of he's in charge than any other manager since Sir Alf Ramsey. Although he didn't win anything, he got to 2 finals, another semi-final, and I think for me, yes, he deserves it. That's my view. Joe, what do you think?
Well, if we're getting tenuous links, I'm going to score with his wife. She's in my class. But Alison. But anyway, yes. But anyway, no. Listen, well, I mean, it's just the same stuff over in this country. We love to reward a loser. So, he hasn't won anything. If he'd have won something, you give him the world. But he's already been paid the world. So it looks like it's just it's just a job for the boys. What will he get next? Where will he go next?
You're saying no, are you, to the knighthood?
Yeah, no, Sir Jesus.
No, not Sir Jesus, just Sir Gareth. Nick.
Yeah, I've got my own personal thoughts on Gareth Southgate. He's never really inspired me. I certainly wouldn't want to manage our club, but we are talking about that sort of thing. What about Roy Hodgson's services to football? I think he's far more deserving than Gareth Southgate.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Paul, what do you think? Yes or no?
No, not for me. No, as I say, if he won the trophy, then so be it. But Bobby Robson never got it. It's probably a good thing to have for people who actually win things. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, and he was good at uniting the nation, bringing things together. But yeah, he ultimately didn't get the top gong. So yeah, I don't think that. Give him an OBE halfway house.
Yasmin, your thoughts very quickly.
Well, I think compared to some of the other people on the list, he's done a lot more for this country. So, yeah, give him one. I don't mind. Giving him out like sweets nowadays, anyway.
We won't talk about the other people on the list right now. There we go. Right, and on that note, let's just have a look at the other teams at this football club at the moment. We always do this on the show as well. The under-21s, they were playing in the Premier League International Cup. They beat RSC Anderlecht 3-1 last Tuesday. No match for the 18 since we last broadcast. The women, now the women are struggling a bit, aren't they? They lost 2-0 to Spurs at the VBS Community Stadium in the WSL Cup. And then they lost yesterday in the Super League to Man United, just 1-0. Margins are fine. And good to see the flags there behind the goal and the supporters that do follow the women's game. But I didn't realise until I had a quick look at the league table today, they're bottom. Views on this? Are they going to stay up this season, our women, in the Super League? Ian, first of all.
I'd love for it to happen. I think they're so close at the minute. I just think
someone's at the front door.
Clearly they had a really... Is that my...
Shut up, Nick.
I've got a delivery. I would love for it to happen. I bet there's only one that goes down, so they've definitely got a chance, haven't they?
Yeah, sure. Okay, Paul, you've been watching their results a bit and watching some of their games as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I tend to have it on the laptop when I'm watching the Super Sunday games on Sky, and yeah, they've been a bit unlucky. They were very unlucky to lose in the last minute of Villa the other week, and they were 2 up at West Ham in about 10 minutes the other week and contrived to lose 5-2. As you say, it's a very strange league. The top 4 teams are very good in that division. The rest are all much of a muchness, and we just don't seem to score enough goals. If we can sort that out, then they'll be fine out with the bottom 3 teams. It's basically, as Ian says, there's one space to go for, and a couple of wins will do it. But it's just, maybe it's confidence, but it's looking a tall order at the moment.
Fair enough. A few comments about the doorbell in the chat. Have a look at those, Ian Lyons. Quite amusing, actually. What people come up with straight away. So you guys, very good. Very good. Right, hold it all together in. Right, so where we going now, producer guy? What we got up next? Our predictions. Let's have a look at that. So how good are we at predicting? 9 points from the last 5 games, 2 wins and 3 draws. How did we do when we were predicting? Not too good. You and me, Paul Gear, we said 4 points. Oh, my goodness me. Who was the closest?
Yasmin.
Yes, what did you say? 6 points, Yaz, and we laughed at you.
Yeah, but Teresa said 8, so she was closer than me.
I don't know what Steve Jupp was drinking, but he thought we're going to win every game. But there we are. He was closer than Tim, who said -2. That's why he's not on the show that often. -2. There we go. There. I'm only joking.
We'll say though that had it not been for Hendo's little clanger, he may have got the 3-0 that we all scoffed at him for last week.
Oh, yeah, possibly. Who knows?
He did say 3-0, Tim. I will say that. So
yeah, he does know his stuff. Really, I'm only joking, Tim. If you're watching, I know you are. I know you are. Okay, we've got an opportunity. Anyone watching this show to dine out and have a good day in the FA Cup tie on Saturday, the 12th of January. Oh no, Sunday, the 12th of January. I stand corrected. We play Stockport County at home in the FA Cup third round. Some people are a bit disappointed it's on a Sunday and not on a traditional Saturday 3 p.m. But it's 3 p.m. on the Sunday. And there's a guy called Gianni Buttici or whatever his name is. I can't remember how you pronounce his name, but he's quite an avid guy in the FPL community. Writes content for fantasy football, and he is offering 2 hospitality tickets for the Stockport game, open to bids. So if anyone would like to bid for these, he's looking for about £100 each. And the winning bids will be doubled by whoever, I don't know whoever, to give to a charity called Street Child United, which helps address the problem of children living on the streets in various places throughout the world. It's a real bona fide charity. So if anyone fancies that, just get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with him. So that's 2 tickets with corporate hospitality for the Stockport game on Sunday, the 12th of January. Let's have a look, Nigel, please, if we can, at the games that are coming up, our fixtures ahead. So, of course, Wednesday evening, in 2 days' time, we will be at the Emirates for the quarterfinal of the Carabao. And then we play the same opposition again in the Premier League. Tea time kickoff, also in front of the Sky cameras. They can't get enough of us, can they? Against Arsenal at home on Saturday, tea time, as I said. Boxing Day, we go to Bournemouth. That one's on Prime Video. So if you're not going to the game, then you can watch it on Prime. We play Southampton at home. Looking forward to that one on the 29th of December. Chelsea visit Selhurst Park on the 4th of January. And then that's aforementioned FA Cup tie that I've already covered. So in those 4 league games, guys, how many points? 12
8.
points up for grab. So Gel says 8. Producer guy, are you noting these down? Gel says 8.
in one cup out of the other.
Nick Philpott, what are you saying?
6 from me.
6 from you. Ian?
5.
5. Yasmin?
9.
9.
Oh,
Wow.
3 wins she's going for. Paul?
Yeah.
6, but I can't decide whether that's 2 wins or 1 win and 3 draws.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 7, me. Someone else says 7. And lots of 7s and 6s, 6s and 7s in the chat. Someone said 12. I don't know. There we go. Anyway, yeah, I think we're nearly done, aren't we? We're just over the hour, guys. Is there anything that you want to... well, the predictions for the game, okay. So, yeah, cup tie. We're going to win in the cup, losing the league. I think that's probably what will happen. Anyone else disagree? Agree with me there?
All depends on who they put out, doesn't it? If they put out a strong lineup, it's going to be a tough game. Hopefully, they won't go that strong and save themselves to the league game. But it's going to be a fun night on Wednesday. 7,000 of us all travelling up to the library, so it's going to be great fun. And yeah, let's hope we can have another great night out.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to that because it will be different from a league game when we only get about 3,000 tickets. So the whole of that bottom tier will be Palace 6,000-7,000. Is it 7,000? That'd be good if it is that many.
Yeah, and we managed to kick the HF Wallabies, the Ashburton Army or whatever. We've managed to kick them out of their usual spot, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Okay, so we are going to the Emirates on Wednesday. We play them at home on Saturday. We'll be back, of course, next Sunday evening with our next show. I think, Nick, you're back hosting that one.
I am.
The game on the 22nd, the show on the 22nd of December. I do want to finish with one piece of sad news. Many of you watching this show that are regulars will know Bruce Muirhead. Bruce is now the chair of the Disabled Supporters Association. I had a message from his wife yesterday to say, sadly, he's in intensive care. So our thoughts and prayers are with you, Bruce, for a speedy recovery. And I hope you get well soon. And hopefully the result would have helped yesterday. So our thoughts are with Bruce at this time. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks very much for coming on the show tonight. It was a bumper show. We managed to hold it all together in the end. So I wish you a good rest of the evening. And we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Ian. Well done.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone.
Night.